Right, 21 March 2024, and today is a holiday here in South Africa, Human Rights Day, and I would like to begin with the headline as usual, and this is going to be a very important development that is going to take place. I've said in the past that Chiwenga will not be allowed by Mnangagwa and his family to take over or to succeed him as president at the end of Mnangagwa's term in 2028. These guys are going to do everything in their power to stop Chiwenga from taking over, and they have now started to make the moves. So I said everything is going to happen in public, but there is a very big dilemma for Mnangagwa in that Mnangagwa doesn't trust anybody. He only trusts members of his family. He believes that members of his family and close relatives and those people around him are the best to take over. However, I think there's a lack of depth among the people that he wants to succeed him. There is a big story today in the newspaper, which is from Eddie Cross, and this story is saying that Chiwenga will not take over. And you know that this newspaper belongs to Mnangagwa. So basically, what you see here is actually coming from Mnangagwa and his family. So this is today's headline: Chiwenga will not take over. And I wanted to look at this in the context of the story that came out yesterday. We'll publish this story on gambako.com. And this story was on Zimlive. Zimlive is also another CIO newspaper. So what these guys are saying basically is that Chiwenga is going to retire with Mnangagwa. He's not going to take over as president when Mnangagwa retires. But you know that Chiwenga is not agreed with that. Chiwenga wants to take over. He's building his profile. He's building his team, and he wants to take over. However, the guys on Mnangagwa's side, they don't want Chiwenga to take over. They want to block him. And this is what is in the Zimlive yesterday. They said, according to their sources, Mnangagwa wants to extend his term up to 2030 and then make sure that all the senators, councillors, and MPs who were appointed or who were elected on 23 August, they also extend their terms to 2020 to 2030. So he wants everyone to go along with him. But in this particular story by today, by Eddie Cross spoke to Newsday. He is saying there are younger people that are supposed to take over, and these young people, he mentioned by name, Emmerson Jnr. Jr. And I know that Emmerson Jnr. Jr. is not the one that they actually want to take over. My belief is that they actually are grooming young Kuda David Mnangagwa to take over as president. So Eddie Cross is giving us a decoy, and they are testing the waters to see how Chiwenga is going to react. But the person that they actually want to take over, according to what has been happening, if you look at what has been happening over the past few weeks, Kuda is taken over from Mthuli Ncube. He's hosting a lot of conferences. He's presenting Victoria Falls. Yesterday he was on the, I think, International Money Week or something. They are building his profile, and I think I'll eventually play you this video. Here he is here. Yesterday he was sitting here. I'll show you the video of what he said here. But the important thing is they're building the profile of Kuda, but Kuda is not very sharp. He's not very smart, and he lacks experience. I'll show you what I mean very, very shortly. But the point I'm trying to make here is ED does not believe in anyone else's ability to take over from him. He believes that only members of his family can take over, and they're going to do everything in their power to remove Chiwenga from the equation. So Chiwenga is going to be removed from the equation. I told you that Chamisa has been removed from the equation, and now they're going to go after Chiwenga. However, that could be a dangerous move. I believe that Chiwenga is going to stage a fight back, and he's not going to allow anyone to push him out. So let's look at that speech by Kuda. I want you to see what I mean when I say Kuda is not ready. And let's quickly play. I hope that my volume is going to be fine here.
If you look at the makeup of our economy, it's made up of SMEs, micro SMEs, which contribute, I would say, 60 to 70% in our economy. So I think this week is a recollection and a calibration of the constituent members of our economy.
Right. So when someone is talking, I listen very, very carefully. So, and then I can judge immediately if someone is ready or not. So if you look at what Kuda just said there, David, he said Zimbabwe is made up of micro and SMEs, which make up to 60 to 70% of Zimbabwe's economy. That is garbage. It's no way that and the people that are selling those small companies are making 60 to 70% of the economy. So he doesn't understand the economy, but they're pushing him to the front. He's being given responsibilities that he's not ready for. And I believe that ED seriously thinks he can put David and he can put another Emmerson in high level positions. And the young guy in the army, he thinks they can all rise. And then he's now grooming his daughter-in-laws also to come up there. He has filled all positions in government with close relatives and cronies. And this goes all the way throughout the economy. ED has done something that you've never seen. The economy in Zimbabwe is basically now a family affair. If you look at the news bulletin in Zimbabwe in the evening, the Mnangagwa family takes up to almost 30 minutes of the 1 hour. Yesterday's bulletin had to be increased by almost 18 minutes to accommodate the Mnangagwa family. When they speak, they don't cut. They just put everything that they say out there. And this is crazy. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is this is what is out there. The Mnangagwa family has, for the first time, revealed their plan. Eddie Cross is the biographer of Mnangagwa. When you see him speaking about something, they have sat down and discussed it. And the newspaper that is coming out of from is a Mnangagwa family newspaper. So they are testing the waters. And you can see this story here. And let me show you how he said it. He said, I talked to the younger generation ZANU-PF. There are some exciting guys, really exciting guys. Look, Emmerson Jnr. won't take over. They have to win the people. They have to win the party. And I think that's tough. So you see that he's mentioning Emmerson Jnr. here. Who asked him? No one. He's just coming out with this thing to test the water. So they're testing the waters to see what will happen. They're saying that Chiwenga has run his race. He is tired. He will not be able to continue. This is all in this clip that I'm showing you here. Some reports have indicated that Chiwenga had the backing of influential figures such as Kuda David Mnangagwa, but Cross said Mnangagwa has disbanded that influence. This is very brave coming from Eddie Cross, but as indicated yesterday, the relationship between Chiwenga and Kuda David is also not so well. Kuda David is actually funding Mnangagwa's plans to extend his term to 2030. This is all in the press, and you are seeing the succession process taking place in Zimbabwe, with Mnangagwa preferring his son. His son, I think Kuda, is actually the person that Mnangagwa prefers. He does not believe that his interests will be protected under Chiwenga. Because if Chiwenga comes in, the first thing that he's going to do is to go after the structures that Mnangagwa has set up. These guys are going to lose very, very big if Chiwenga comes in. And that is what they're trying to avoid here. Now, let's go to Chamisa's tweet. And then after Chamisa's tweet, I'm going to take you through the news. There's some very, very important news taking place starting today, tomorrow, and Monday. So let's look at what Chamisa tweeted. Chamisa bought a dog, right? A new dog. Here, I do not know the advocate, what is meaning here. But I see that he also put this. I first saw this on Instagram. So he's sending there with a very big dog. I don't know, guys. So maybe guys will know, will tell me what is the meaning. Then we go to Mbudzi interchange. Mnangagwa has failed to complete the Mbudzi interchange. This thing is trending today because the Mozambicans have completed theirs and the Zimbabwean guys have stolen the picture from Mozambique. The reason why they are not completing Mbudzi interchange is because ED simply doesn't know how to complete projects. All the project that ED has started is failed to complete. The roads are not complete. The bridges are not complete. Everything that ED has started is not complete. The airports are not complete. And it's a serious problem. Look at this situation here. On the left, you see that the Mozambicans have completed, and on the right, you see that Zimbabwe is a construction site. If you travel on all the roads that EDA started on the freeways, it's not completed. They keep talking about it, but it hasn't started. It hasn't completed. So this is going to be a very big issue. Mnangagwa is not able to start and complete things. He also sets up plans and he doesn't complete them. So Mnangagwa announced something today. And if you come after a year, that thing is not started. Look at the currency issue. The currency in Zimbabwe is collapsing daily. As we speak right now, the currency is almost over 30,000, one to 30,000. And it's coming from, in December, 1 is to 7,000. That's on the black market. And on the official market, it has also collapsed in such a manner. So ED in a very, very difficult position because he can't complete anything that he starts. And his projects are all in a limbo. They're not moving. Let's move then to the next story, which is Emmerson Jnr and my brother Reza. They were sworn in yesterday. So I want to show you the swearing in ceremony. And then we'll move on to the next story. So they're swearing in, and then they set out their priorities. So let's see what they say here.
I, Michael Reza, do swear that I will well and truly serve Zimbabwe in the office of Chairperson of the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. So help me God.
I, Fungai Jesse Majome, do swear that I will well and truly serve Zimbabwe in the office of the Chairperson of the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. So help me God.
The issues that I'm going to deal with, which was the conversation which was there between ZAC and the National Prosecuting Authority, was on the completeness of dockets, and that is going to be my priority area. I'm going to ensure that no docket leaves ZAC unless it is complete, unless all the elements of all the crimes have been attended to.
I would want there to be a connection that we remember that human rights are for each and every one of us, and that our constitution gives a duty on the state. It's a duty bearer to uphold, fulfill, and promote human rights. But that not only does the state have that duty, but we as citizens ourselves also have duties to also respect, promote, and fulfill the rights of others.
Right, so I think you heard it. These guys are obviously at State House. They can't say exactly what they're going to do. I think Reza has got the biggest job because Matanda Moyo, ever since he took that position, there is not a single conviction that he has secured. This is a very political office. You cannot go and I think I've frozen here. I hope that you guys can see me. I think I've frozen. My network seems to have frozen. So I hope that was still together. So the biggest problem that Jesse is going to face is the team that she's working with. I do not know if she's going to be having the necessary team that can execute on the job that she needs to execute. And in the case of Reza, are they going to be able to prosecute anyone? That is a very big problem. And I think these two, they will need to have extensive support and also extensive training that will be necessary. It's very important for this to happen. So I want to just replay a bit of video. I think that will revive my screen here. So let's replay that.
Do swear that I will well and truly serve.
I think we're good. We're good. I'm still frozen on my side, but let me quickly wrap this up. Let me not stay a long time here while I don't know what my status of my network is. So let's go to another quick story, and then I'll close this because I don't know what's happening with my network. With SADC is having a meeting, 3 meetings this week, and these meetings are on Zimbabwe. So we've got 3 meetings, one starting today, another one tomorrow, and the heads of states on Monday. So there's a SADC tracker meeting which is taking place on Monday, which is going to be chaired by President Hakainde Hichilema, and it's going to be discussing very important issues in SADC. So I'm going to upload that to gambako.com. There's a full statement there. So there is SAMIM, the SADC mission in Mozambique, and SADC, the one that is in DRC. They're going to be, so it's some DRC. They're going to be talking tomorrow. And today we're going to be having the Ministers of Foreign Affairs meeting. So Zimbabwe is probably going to be discussed here on Monday. So let's look at the outcome Zimbabwe has refused to comply with the results of the SADC. So I think Mnangagwa will be over there. Let's see what happens when they get over there to have a chat on SADC Troika meeting. There's going to be a SADC Troika meeting. I then want to look at the newspapers. I haven't had a chance to look at the newspapers. And the important story, obviously, is Mazbaba Ishmael. The story of Mazbaba Ishmael is trending, and the Mapo story for ED have revealed how Mazbaba Ishmael is related to Mnangagwa. So Mnangagwa is a very close ally of Mazbaba Ishmael, because during the days of Mjuru, Mazbaba Ishmael issued a prophecy, and the prophecy was that Mjuru was not going to be president. So that is how Mnangagwa is linked to Mazbaba Ishmael. So that's why you see that Mazbaba Ishmael is untouchable. That is because, so let's try to share the screen here and see if you can see what I'm showing you. It's actually in the newspaper today. So in the H Metro, they are showing more stories of what has happened with Mazbaba Ishmael. So he's saying that Professor Muwati was buried alive. Professor Muwati was the first person that I talked to you about in 2019. If I'm not mistaken, 2019, Mazbaba Ishmael beat up the police. They let him go because he had made that prophecy to Mnangagwa that a woman will not rule Zimbabwe. That is why you see that Mazbaba Ishmael is getting protection, because he's a close ally of Mnangagwa over that prophecy. Mami Juru will not take over. And this is the big story that is there in the H Metro newspaper. I think you can have a look at it. It's going to be very interesting what happens, because Mnangagwa is not going to let go of Mazbaba Ishmael. The rituals that were performed to get Mnangagwa into office were done by Mazbaba Ishmael. So guys, you must be very clear of what has happened with Mazbaba Ishmael. This story goes straight to Mnangagwa and his presidency. That is how this whole thing is so important in this particular matrix. And then in particular, if I look at the Herald newspaper, I even had a look at the Herald newspaper also. These things take so much time for me to prepare, so sometimes I don't have enough time. They're talking about Russia here, Russia to strengthen ties with Zimbabwe. That is why Chigumba is over there. And then Mozambique to tap into the Zimbabwe Judicial Services Commission. So Malaba talked to these guys yesterday. And what else is important here? We don't have much that is actually trending in the newspapers today. It's a holiday in South Africa, but in Zimbabwe, it's not a holiday. That's my belief, that it's not a holiday. So I'm sure that you guys can have a look at the newspapers, but there's not much else that is there in the newspapers. So let's now look at the comments and recap. I want to quickly look at the comments and recap. My brother Mkoma MS. I want to start with the comments as usual. Let's see what they're saying. There is nothing like that, Kambakwe. Why do you make up stuff? I do not make up stuff. It's in today's press. Mnangagwa's own newspaper. Chiwenga will not be president. There it is, Mkoma. That newspaper belongs to Mnangagwa and his family, and they want to make sure that they test the water. They're testing the water to see what Chiwenga is going to do. And I think that's a mistake. If these guys go after Chiwenga, he's probably going to somehow find a way of retaliating. He's not going to just sit there and lose the presidency. That's my belief. That Chiwenga is not going to just sit there. Then Mkoma Hard Life says this is war being created by Mnangagwa. He's telling ZANU-PF to his private sponsor shop. True. And I think guys need to be very careful about what's happening here, because eventually people are going to start being eliminated, and this is going to happen very, very soon. Mkoma Gono, you're saying the father of Chamisa is warning his political enemies to be careful. He has deployed his watchdogs. That's not a job. Mkoma Gono, you must come here one day and we can do a collaboration. Don't stay in the shadows. Then you can analyze the stories with me in the mornings, so that people here can get to see you. And then that comment was a rebuttal of Kuda becoming president. Yes, Kuda can be president. He's not sharp. Look at what he said about I did a story here a few months ago. What he said about the gold coins, and what he's saying. He's like AI. He does hallucinations. Like 60 to 70% of the economy is made up of the micro institutions. Uh, so some of the things he says, it shows good he's trying, but he actually doesn't have the necessary experience to be where he is. So Mnangagwa has got that challenge. They're not ready. He's placing them in army, he's placing them in ministries, he's placing them in business, but they're not ready. If Mnangagwa is not there, they're going to be eliminated from whatever section that Mnangagwa puts them. Especially this kind of a thing that Kuda said here.
If you look at the makeup of our economy, it's made up of SMEs, micro SMEs, which contribute, I would say, 60 to 70% in our economy. So I think this week is a recollection and a calibration of the constituent members of our economy.
Calibration. Well, so I don't know, man. I think these guys are just being pushed into positions that they're not ready. Mnangagwa should do the right thing and appoint professionals. Do you really think with all the economists that we have in Zimbabwe, Tukushayamun one and Kwasakita Minister of Finance, Deputy Minister of Finance, Minister of Tourism, Army, or wherever else you're putting people, do you think we don't have people? So this is the problem that we have. ED does not understand what the challenges we're facing is. He's not able to complete projects. He's basically just operating like a chief, and that is not working. And then Mukoma Lakson says, Gambaka, I would like to work with you in the area of preparing posts. This halal politics of Zimbabwe would like to be prepared for that area. Yes, anyone who's interested, Panaba, I will invite everyone in the mornings. If you want to join and also analyze, come and join. And you don't want to hear Gambako's voice every day. And I've been going for 100 days. We're planning to go for 365 days this year as we set up the team, and we have more people on the broadcast. This is the most watched news bulletin in Zimbabwe. Every day, 50,000 people tune in to this very broadcast that I'm making here, because there are people who stay in Nyanga, Victoria Falls, Kariba, and a Bedbridge. They would otherwise never know what's happening in Harare if we don't do this broadcast. That's why I do it every day, because there's actually someone who doesn't know what has happened in Harare, and they'll never know if we don't give them that update. The media, Zimbabwe, is very much small. It's a very small media. There's not many people there. That's why we need to build a bigger media, and that's why I encourage younger people to show their face. Don't use my videos where you're not showing your face, because you're not going to build your profile. And I think many younger people are doing so. We've also brought in front of the camera many people. About half of the channels that the big ones, they came from here, Gambako Media, and the plan is to create an even bigger media in the country. Jana Mnangagwa, they're not focused on media. I have engaged these guys on numerous occasions. I've even flown to Zimbabwe to meet some of these people, and it's been fruitless. They've got no view of what needs to be done. And the danger with what Mnangagwa is doing is that when the country becomes okay, other people from other countries are going to take over and create new media and create areas, take over sections of the country, 4 more sections of the country, which Zimbabweans can't take over right now because Mnangagwa is unformalizing everything. And Mnangagwa, 60 to 70%, that's what David is seeing. That is what his father is doing. They're unformalizing everything. And when the country normally becomes normal, the young Zimbabweans don't have the skills to take over these sectors of the economy that are important. And you're going to end up with a country which is being run by people from outside the country. Because at Mnangagwa, they don't have a vision. They lack a vision to see what needs to be done to make the economy a homegrown economy. They are focusing on useless things like maize, like fish. Yesterday, Mnangagwa was opening a fish pond. Tourism. So they don't see it. They don't have that bigger picture of how to build a formal economy or to build a Dubai in Zimbabwe. They cannot do it because their vision is so limited. They think of gold, a little bit of gold here, a little bit of maize here. And right now they want a young Kuda to be president in Zimbabwe, which they think is possible. And I don't think it's possible. I think these are mistakes that are being made by the Mnangagwa guys. they need to work within a formal structure. They need to create something that's sustainable. And currently what they're working on is not sustainable. So I think I want to end it here. Let me see if anyone has made another comment before I go. Reason saying, good morning, Gambakwe, and Kuma 101 is saying Zimbabwe's potential is limited by lack of internet. Yes, I agree with you. When Atam Tambara spoke about this long break, many people didn't understand. If you don't have internet, you're worse than a person without water. So that's how bad it is. So if your house has got no running water, you are better than a person without internet. Because with internet, you can make a living, you can make a lot of money. And these are some of the things that we want to help young people to understand. The bulk of the money that I make comes from the internet. I'm talking about over 90% of my income comes from the internet. So if Gabako can do it, and I've been doing it for 10 years, it's not a fluke. It means you can also do it. You can also make money from the internet. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'm going to be traveling this whole 2 weeks. I'm all over the place, and I'm not able to settle down. I know a lot of guys have been calling me. If you find out that I'm not able to respond to you, just send me a message. Guys, I'm receiving calls half of my day. That's how bad this thing has become. So try to avoid calling me. Try to send messages so that I can also have a moment to do other things and not talk on the phone. There are thousands of you, and there's one of me. So let's try to make it, because you end up thinking the Gambako is not responding to me. It's because I've got so many calls coming in. But there are people who know my actual number. If I see you calling on that number, I know you deserve me to pick up your phone. But if you don't know that number, then I know what I can ignore your number. You must WhatsApp me. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and I hope that this was useful. We'll see each other again tomorrow.